Okay, so our first problem here is talking about scientific notation to the expanded form. So this here, what it has, 1.587 times 10 to the 6th power, this is in scientific notation. And if we want to turn it back into expanded form, that means we're going to add all our zeros back to it. So if you have your calculator, you're just going to put in 1.57 578 times 10, push your little up key here, to the 6th, okay, and then that gives us 1,578,000. Okay, so that's our answer for the first one. And for the second one, 8.3 times 10 to the negative 6th, just do the same thing with your calculator, 8.3 times 10, push your arrow up here, and then make sure you push your negative, and then 6. Okay, and then here on this, so it has 5 zeros in front of it, and you will want to add this first 0 when you're putting your answers in. So that would be the answer to the second one. Now it's wanting you to take it from expanded form, which is this, and turn it back in to this up here. Okay, put it back into scientific notation. And to do that, you're going to want to go on your calculator and you push your second button and then push this DRG, and this right here where it says SCI, you want to push over to that, and this puts your calculator into scientific notation form. So then you push in your number, 32,500, and push enter. This right here is giving you this number in scientific notation. Okay, so then you're just going to put this in, 3.25 times 10, and this is going to be raised to the 4th. Now you won't put this 0 in front of it. Okay, so this is what it'll look like whenever you got your answer put in. Okay, now we have this one, so we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to clear our calculator, put in 0. It's got 5 zeros and 4 3, and then just hit enter, and then this again gives you your scientific notation. So it's 4.3 times 10 to the negative 6th. Okay, so as you see here, we don't put that 0 in front of that negative 6. We just put the 6 by itself. Okay, now on these problems down here, it's wanting you to compute scientific notation. One thing to remember on these is to make sure that you add these parentheses. Okay, if you don't add those parentheses, your calculator won't put it in right. So again, you want to make sure that you've got it in the second and the scientific, which ours is still in because we haven't took it out. Okay, so put your parentheses and then 3.2 times 10 raised to the 3rd, and then close your parenthesis, another parenthesis, 7.4 times 10 10 raised to the 2nd. Okay, and that gives us 2.368 times 10 to the 6th power. Okay, so that's how you would write it in whenever you put it into your bone cards. Alright, now let's look at this one. This one here we see has all this raised to the 2nd power. So on your calculator, you want to put it in exactly the way it was in there. So 0.45 times 10 raised to the negative, make sure you hit that negative, 7, and then again go back, raise all of that to your 2nd power or squared, and hit enter, and there's your answer, 2.025 times 10 to the negative 15. Okay, now on this one over here, it's going to be just a little bit different. What you want to do first is put these numbers here in parentheses. Okay, so when you put this in on your calculator, make sure that you put these numbers into parentheses. So I'm going to have my parentheses 1 times 10 raised to the 5th, and then I'm going to close my parenthesis, and now see over here I've got the top part. Now I'm going to put my divide, okay, and then I'm going to put this 3 and 10 raised to the -4th also in parentheses. So 3 times 10 raised to the -4th power. I'm going to close my parentheses and hit enter. Okay, now this one here, you're just going to round this since it's 3, you just keep repeating it. It's just going to be 3.3 times 10 to the 8th power. Okay. So it would be 3.3 times 10 raised to the 8th power. Okay. So that's what our answer would look like. Okay. Now we're going to look at this word problem. Now for this word problem, it says a total of 3 and 1400 times 10 to the 7th is to be refunded to taxpayers. The refund is to be distributed evenly among 3 and 2100 times 10 to the 5th power taxpayers. Approximately how much money will be distributed to each taxpayer? So since it's given us the total here up here at the top, and then it's also telling us it's going to each taxpayer. So anytime that you see it's going to each one, that lets you know you're going to divide. Okay, so it tells us to divide the total amount of money by the number of taxpayers. So we're going to do the same thing that we did on the other one. But since this one is dealing with money, you want to go back on these word problems and turn your calculator back into this regular calculator function. So we had it in scientific, we want to get it back out. Okay, so let me show you that one more time. So we had it in scientific. So to get it out of scientific, just go back, hit second, your DRG button, and then use your arrow and move it back to FLO. And that puts it back in our standard, just regular calculator function instead of scientific. Okay, so now we're going to put in our numbers. So we had 3.14 times 7 raised to the 10th. So remember, make sure you put that in parentheses, or otherwise your calculator won't work right. It'll give you one of those scientific errors or something. Times 10, and I'm going to raise that to the 7th. Okay, now it was divide, so we're going to hit divided by. Put our second parentheses and put this 3.21 times 10 to the 5th. So 3.21 times 10 raised to the 5th power, and hit enter. And that gives us 97.8193, and so on. So since it's money, we're going to round it to the second decimal place. So for number 3, the answer would have been $97.82.